Okay, so this video is about learning from other people, even though their lifestyle may not be yours. So, as you all know, Kevin Hart is very popular, very successful. I didn't know how successful he was until I decided to watch a documentary series he has. I happened to go on Netflix and I saw the series, and it was titled, and it had the F word in the title, but it had the bleep signs. And I'll just start off the bat. I don't like profanity. Have I used it? Definitely growing up, I have. Um, I won't lie, in my adulthood, even as a Christian, I haven't used the F word. I've gotten mad and said something like the D word. But I don't believe in profanity. I really don't. It really bothers me. I'm uncomfortable being around it. But in that same place, when you're around people who use it, you don't have to crawl under a rock. We all have things that we need to get to a different level in our lives, and whatever the case may be. Someone who uses profanity doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It's just that they don't understand that profanity is not the best thing to come out of our mouths, right? So anyway, I was kind of surprised that I would watch it, since I know that Mr. Hart does use a lot of profanity. I even remember once going to a movie that he was in years ago, and I knew I needed to leave because it was too much for me. But nonetheless, I decided to watch the documentary, and I don't know if it was something in the title. It was just the fact that I knew the title was saying something about his life, and so that was interesting to me. And even though the documentary, like I said, is using a lot of profanity, I'm able to go past it so I can see what I can learn from it, learn from him. And there's two things I'll talk about quickly because I don't want this to be long. Knowing that he came from Philadelphia, which is one of the hardest places to grow up in, certain parts of Philadelphia, in which he showed that he lived in, a hard neighborhood.
Over there and I just see someone pass.
And
I'm just gonna do it.
To see where he came from. And so right now I'll talk about like his mom, who unfortunately passed away from ovarian cancer.
What? No,
but he grew up in a single household. His father was addicted to drugs and whatever else. He and his brother lived with his mom, and eventually his mom had to tell the brother he had to leave because he got into a lifestyle that wasn't good. But now, as an adult, the brother is successful. He's not in that lifestyle. He's past all that. But because of that, Kevin said that his mother became more strict on him with stuff. And because now that the brother was out the house, the mom did not want Kevin to go down that same path as well. So she became more strict, had rules set in place, the way every household should. And I don't know what at one age, but he was probably a good teenager, that he just decided, he said to his mom, he just doesn't know why she's so strict. Like he couldn't take it anymore. So she was like, you can leave, right? My candy, let me put it down. And so they called his father, and the father came to pick him up, and Kevin admitted. He said the grass is not greener on the other side. Because when he got to his father's place, a bunch of people there. His father had a bunch of different kids. I don't know. He didn't go into whether he eventually came back home to mom. He probably did. But his mom eventually became a professor. I forgot at what college. But he basically showed, because of his mom and her perseverance and her strictness and her structure, it open his eyes to succeed and to work so hard. And that's why he's so driven. And I wish I could quote some of the words. There was something he said before, and I don't remember. It's in the back of my mind, why because of his mom and why he's so driven. But he doesn't stop. So, like he said, he's his own competitor. He just wants to build an empire, like he said, and he loves to help people. And so that's just one of the things. I'm like on the 4th episode that I'm watching right now. And I love how he has a company of 5 good friends that have been in his life for a while. And how he just loves to give back. And all his friends,
English guys, I got you.
They're not slouches. They know they are doing good, And like he said, I love what he said. They've invested in me, And I think he wasn't just talking about his friends, but he said they've invested in me, so I'm investing in them. And that is really powerful because he could have said it the other way around. He could have said he's investing in them and they have invested in me. No, he said they're investing in him. They're trusting him. They're giving him their time, doing this and that, he's giving back. Like he has a barber who's his good friend who travels with him. Most of you probably know they call themselves the Plastic Cup, something like that. He has his trainer and all that stuff who is called the Boss, and they had a deal. I'm not sure how old this episode is. They have a deal with Chase, I guess Chase Morgan. What is the deal about? Oh, it's about health and fitness for the black community, and there was something else why I really wanted to do this video, why I want to speak on Kevin Hart, but it's just his work ethic. So I'm sitting here watching. Like I said, I don't like profanity, but I'm grabbing stuff. It's not that it's new stuff that I haven't heard in my life before, but sometimes you have to hear something over and over, and you have to hear it from somebody else, And you know what also got for me? Because moms have a tendency of, most moms I would think, of being strict and structured with their children. It just reminded me, don't let up on my kids. And I have let up in many areas. Like my children have,
one of them.
they have chores to do the dishes, but in the last, I would say at least 3 months, I've been slacking that. Like they had a day, each of them, and I have not kept with it. The only thing that they've done is that every time we eat, like each person washed their dish. But the chores was that everyone, even me. I already washed dishes without. I don't need a day. I just do it.
You're not.
But I don't want it just to be about the kids just watching. We all in
season
have to also. Hey, can you just talk a little lower, please? Thank you. If you can hear me. He doesn't hear me. He's playing Fortnite or one of those games. But it just told me, get back on it. You know what? Because I get busy, we get busy, and of course the kids are not going to be like, oh, let me go wash the dishes. It's my day. I want it. I hope and pray that as young people that they would come to the point one day that they don't need us to say go wash the dishes. If you know Monday's your day, go wash the dishes. So I know because of my schedule and things, I'm going to get, and I said this before, but tomorrow I'm going out. I'm going to go to Staples and get one of those boards. And it's going to be the erasable and write down everyone's day to wash. And I'm even changing things because before it would be like one just washed the dishes and everybody else got to go upstairs and then I would clean the stove and the table. Like, no. Every time someone washes, someone's going to clean the stove, someone's going to put the food away, someone's going to, everything, sweeping. Everybody's going to have a chore every day because as I've told my kids, I want different for you, just like every parent has said. But I extremely mean it. Okay? So, and though they don't always get it, but chores, I believe, in my opinion, and Kevin Hart could attest to this, that helps you to become successful if you use common sense enough to know, okay, my parent set this up for me to do. I love my kids like crazy. I'm not one of these to say, I can't wait till my kids get out the house. I'm not like that. But I will say this is what I'm like. I want my children to get their own place. Not because I want them out the house, because it is necessary for their growth and also part of their happiness and joy. I want them to get their own apartment by their 20-something years old. I want them to get a house before they're 30. I want everything that I didn't get. I want for them. So if you can deal with some profanity a little bit without making it sink into your soul, watch it. And you know what? I don't want my kids hearing profanity, but I made a decision today. And I'm going to have to pray about it, but I want Jonathan to watch at least the first episode. I want him to hear what Kevin said about his mom. I want him to see how Kevin is, his work ethic. Because, hey, Jonathan's friends already, Jonathan's in 9th grade. His friends curse already. Some kid, one of his good friends was on, text him and, use foul language. And I got on that phone, on his text, I said, please don't use foul language to my son, on my son's phone. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I don't know what Jonathan's doing behind my back. I don't know, He's got to grow. And I pray that he chooses the right things. So that's my tidbit for today. Sometimes you've got to look at other people, see what they do, And hopefully you do something about it. And that's my hope for me, is that I won't just watch Kevin Hart's movies, his documentary, but I will take from there. And you know, also the girl, Tiffany, what's her name? You guys know, she was probably on his shows, but she's a popular actress. She's a comedian. You know, she was doing those commercials. She did something about a pool boy. African American. You guys, her name starts with T. I'm not sure if it's Tiffany. But she said something, because I think she was in night school. I think that's what it's called with him. And she was like, she was talking about the earrings they were getting her dressed for an interview. She was like, all these things I borrow. She says she's more, her sights are more on getting land. These other things are temporary. And when she says, I'm like, see, even someone who have money has common sense. Why does she need to go spending $1 million on all these temporary things, all these jewelry? And she says she's building generational wealth, and that's what she wants. Kevin, she wants to do, is to teach African Americans about generational wealth. You know, and I would love for them to come to the Bronx, or me, to find out if they're ever having any classes to learn more. And if they're not, at least watching his documentary, I hope, you know, it does something. And you know, another thing he said, his friend, one of his close friends said, is that his barber? No, it's not his barber. I forgot which one this one is. He was saying that Kevin knows that comedy is not the only thing it's not the thing to stop at. He has to build wealth in different areas. And it made me say to myself, you keep just thinking about dance, and although you love dance, but dance could be like being a comedian. It could be a temporary thing. It's your passion, but you need to find another way to grow wealth while enjoying what it is that you're using to grow wealth. Have a blessed week, everybody, and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.